What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? My name is Sam. You are here with the Six-Man Show Postgame Live, presented by Rock'em Sox. Man, another tough one. I just feel tired. Like we watched that Milwaukee game on Wednesday night, and you just felt kind of deflated afterwards, and then you expected kind of a higher energy, higher tempo performance from these guys tonight, and they didn't give it. A lot of the same adjectives that I would use to describe Wednesday's game, I would use to describe this game tonight. And the biggest word that I think it comes down to is frustrating. Frustrating performance. A lot of us are frustrated. We're here to talk it over. We're here to vent. But we got a couple things to get to before we do that. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. Again, we do this after every single Magic game, wins, losses. And the losses are a little bit less fun to talk about than the wins, but sometimes therapy is important and getting stuff off your chest is important as well. So, again, we are the Six-Man Show Postgame Live, brought to you by Rock'em Sox. Before we jump into the game tonight, you guys can tell I'm in a little bit of a different setup. I wanted to take a quick second to give a couple of huge shout-outs. The first one is obviously to our sponsor of the Six-Man Show Postgame Live, Rock'em Sox. These guys are incredible. They are an Orlando-based company. They sell socks. They sell underwear. And they have a ton of great apparel from different sports leagues, different franchises, things like that. But we appreciate them for their Magic apparel. And unfortunately, right, these are one of my favorite pairs of socks. And I had this actually pulled up earlier. I had to do a lot of prep beforehand. And this is one of the socks that I pulled up to try to manifest a win tonight. So unfortunately, we will not be playing the song this evening. But when we do, you can celebrate with a pair of these incredible Play the Song socks by Rock'em Sox. And you also have these right here. Everybody in the playoffs. Everybody in is again, fitting slogan for what we're having to deal with right now because we got a lot of people out and we need every single person to step up. We got some great, awesome designs. Go to rock'em.com or rock'emsox.com. Look through everything that they have. They got a ton of great options, a ton of great things that you can pull from. And if you use the code MAGIC20, you can get 20% off of your order. Help out with the pricing of that, knock a couple bucks off, and make it a little bit easier on your pocket. But in addition to that, something a little bit different is I wanted to give a huge shout out to the Caribe Royale Hotel and Resort here in Orlando, Florida, and Stadium Club, which is a club bar location within the Caribe Royale. For those of you guys who have been listening to the podcast and the postgame lives, you guys know that we had a watch party event tonight, and it was great. Even though we weren't able to come out on top tonight, we had an amazing time. Ton of people there. The hype squad from the Orlando Magic was there. Stuff made an appearance. We had raffles. We had giveaways. People won hotel stays. They won Orlando Magic tickets. They won shirts. They won signed basketballs. Nick Anderson was there. We celebrated his birthday at halftime. I actually won one of the raffles, and I got, let me see if this will even fit in frame. I got this dope stuff pillow. Super cool. And it also came with this stuffed plush. Let me grab it real quick. Right here, this little guy. Very cute. So they're going to be staples in probably my setup. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get those guys involved. But if you have not made it out to an Orlando Magic watch party with the Six-Man Show at any point this year, win or loss, they are a ton of fun. It's great just kind of spending some time with Orlando Magic fans and the fan base and the hype squad. And the vibes were high. We had a great time celebrating. I had to dip out a little bit early tonight for anyone who was there because I had to come back up here and get this rolling. But we're going to go ahead and jump in. I've already kind of scrolled through the chat a little bit before we started tonight. And like I said, frustration. There's a lot of frustration to go around right now. This team just seemed sleepy, and I was really expecting a higher energy, higher tempo performance out of these guys after what we got on Wednesday, and it just didn't happen. I don't really have much else to say other than what I already said. The only thing that was better about this game is that we didn't chuck up 46 threes. And we only shot 29, and as I have on the bottom of the ticker, the Celtics shot 17 of 37. They just couldn't miss. And instead of staying and fighting, it just kind of felt like they would get a couple of stops strung together, they would hit a couple of shots, and then they would get frustrated because Porzingis would hit a big three, or Brown would hit a big three, or White would hit a big three. And it just felt like this team has lost a lot of its fight and a lot of its chippiness. I think the sickness and the injuries are finally starting to wear on this team to where they are seeing the results of having guys out night after night after night. Just very frustrating. We don't really have much else to say other than that, so I'm going to go ahead and get into some of your guys' comments. A little bit more profanity in the chat tonight, so just to let you guys know, we try to keep things clean over here at the Six Man Show, so if you do, I won't be pulling your comment up on the screen, but that doesn't mean I won't talk about it and won't discuss it. But a lot of comments tonight to go through. Man, where am I even going to start? I'm going to start with Matthew Thomas here. Where was the defense? I think was frustrating. There was a lot of lack of defensive effort, and I do think that there was, again, a couple of really big deflating moments early on where Boston would just come back down and they would hit a big shot after a good bucket on the offensive end or after a couple of stops. And just the whole night, whereas the Milwaukee game on Wednesday got away from you really, really early, this game just felt like death by 1,000 cuts. Like you couldn't string 2 to 3 to 4 stops together, and every single time you cut it down to 8, and they would hit a couple threes, and it'd be back to 14. Every single time, you cut it down to 15 in the second half, they would hit a couple threes, and it'd be back up to 20. And it was frustrating, death by 1,000 cuts, kind of like I said. And then once you got into that third quarter, it just kind of seemed like this Magic team that has multiple 20-point comebacks this year was just like, nah, I don't really feel like playing tonight. And that's just not this team's identity, which I really think is the injuries and the sicknesses kind of on this team wearing them down. Heck yeah, 03, no Jalen, no Mo. You could feel it. We had a bunch of people at the watch party tonight talking about you didn't really feel how much we miss Jalen and Mo until it comes to kind of games like this, right? Like they were the heartbeat, and like in games where it was really tough for the rest of the team to stay engaged, Jalen and Mo would always stay engaged, and not having either of them, sometimes it's really, really tough. And Paolo tonight felt like kind of the only guy who was just like, hey, you guys know that we still have a quarter and a half left of basketball to play, right? But that's on the rest of the team. Yes, Jalen is the heartbeat of the team. Mo's out for the rest of the year. Yes, Jalen's the heartbeat of the team, but like you got to find ways to stay engaged. You got to find ways to stay committed to the game, and there's not really much else that you can do there. Janine Richmond, do you think we get anyone else back by Sunday? I don't know about Sunday. I'm hoping. I know I saw that Jet Howard and Franz Wagner were doing some workouts on the court before the game. Franz was getting some shots up. There was a tweet that came out during the game that said that the Magic anticipate Franz to be back within 7 to 10 days, which is big. Obviously, that's not Sunday. But I do think in that same Franz window, we are going to be getting a couple of other guys back as well. Jalen, probably Jet, maybe Goga once his contusion and his concussion get figured out and get situated. I do think we're going to get a couple guys back, and I think that'll be big. I mentioned it on the Postgame Live on Wednesday. It's not just about getting guys back, but it's about you've been playing a ridiculous schedule these last couple of weeks, and I want us to really keep that in mind, is how insane the schedule has been over these last couple of weeks, and the fact that we've strung as many wins together is great, and to stay as positive as we can because of how difficult the schedule has been in concordance with how many injuries that we've had going on. Let's see. Jovi basically said, like I said, I'm not going to pull this up, but Boston 60% from 3, Magic 20%, same thing, different day. Yep, exactly. Boston just couldn't miss. They've been shooting horribly over the last 5 games. They were due for a game where shots were finally going to start falling. They did tonight, and as usual, the Magic just couldn't hit anything. Let's see. Yeah, we already mentioned this. Blaze, you said that Franz Wagner 7 to 10 days return. That's good news, at least. It is. We need Franz back desperately. We really, really need Franz back. And he's going to be coming back. I think that's going to help with offensive momentum. I think it's going to help defensively. You're getting back a guy who's been playing like a top 20 player in the NBA this season. There is no reality in which getting back that player does not make your team a better team. So I think that, in concordance with the fact that we have an easier schedule coming up, is really going to help lighten the load of getting us back into climbing up the standings a little bit. Let's see. A couple talks about how great we appreciate from our broadcasters. Our broadcasters are great, and occasionally when there is a nationally televised game or a blackout game, you're like, oh, I realize how much we appreciate our broadcast guys, which we have one of the best broadcast teams in the NBA, for sure. We were able to watch the FanDuel broadcast at the watch party tonight, which was great and appreciated because 9 times out of 10, I can't stand national broadcasters when it comes to the Magic playing because they either don't know what they're talking about or they're biased for the other team or both. And that's just really, really frustrating to listen to for 2.5 hours. So Nathan kind of expressing what probably a lot of us are feeling right now is it's been really tough these last couple games. Can't keep watching these games if this is what we're going to get. It's tiring. Like I said, I kind of fired this up and I was just like, man, like I feel like someone in the six-man show chat before we got on here mentioned, like, I feel like I've lost like multiple years of my life just these last couple games, Wednesday and Friday. And it knocks so much out of you, just like wanting your team to have a higher effort and put out more energy and more effort and them just not being willing to do it. Man, Majestic Beast says, I'm done with this team's lack of shooting. If we don't put shooters around Paolo and Franz, we will lose one of them to free agency or maybe both. Everyone on this team other than those two we can trade. I don't know about everyone. There's a couple of other guys on this team that really do matter and do help this team accomplish what they want to accomplish. Again, we are seeing what this team looks like without Jalen on the court as well. It's not just without Franz. Jalen is not a part of any trade package as far as I'm concerned. We gave him an extension. We're not getting rid of him. That's not going to happen. Let's see. Rom saying, man, how I wish that we just become healthy. Please, we just need everyone back. That's what we're all wishing. Franz is on the horizon. None of the other guys are out with severe injuries. We should be getting them back kind of over a couple of different games. They should be starting to come back over the next couple of weeks, but we just got to weather the storm and win any games we can in the meantime. And Sunday's going to be another tough one. Sunday's kind of the last tough one before we have a pretty good stretch of winnable games, even with a non-fully healthy roster. But, and apparently they mentioned this on the broadcast in between when I left and when I came up here is we might be losing now, but as per Jeff, we'll have an easier games ahead, hoping to win all those games with everyone coming back. Exactly. Where's the energy and hunger? I don't know where it was tonight. Man, let's see. Yes, it is me tonight. Sorry. I know that I think I've kind of officially run out of luck on the big comeback wins and a couple of rough PGLs for me these last couple of days, but it's all right. And I still love hanging out with you guys here tonight. So, Janine Richmond, yet again, another Magic Maniac therapy session incoming. For sure. Blaze also mentions on national televised games, the Magic got to improve eventually. It's becoming a thing. And I know that there's kind of a stigma about it. And I know that some people think, oh, it doesn't really matter. I think it does. You know, these players know, these guys are young. Most of the guys on our team are in their early 20s. You can't tell me they're not thinking about the fact that more people are going to be watching the game and they have, I have a chance to win over a new segment of fans if I play well tonight. Like there is an additional sense of pressure. And we have seen that the more nationally broadcast the games are, the more this team tends to struggle. Soul Train with probably the most relatable comment of the night, just says pain. I can relate to that. Absolutely. Someone else mentioned, Janine said, and Goga being out too. I think that we're severely underestimating how much of an impact Goga has night after night with this team and what he's capable of doing, what he accomplishes, how he helps out with defense in the paint. We've seen a couple of different games, more so Wednesday than tonight, where it was just kind of like the other team was picking on us in the paint because we didn't really have good paint defense. Tonight, Boston didn't really have to do that because they hit 17 three-pointers, and that's kind of where the majority of their offense came from. Rome says, got to get P5 some help out there. Let's see. Again, Jordan, just to clear up the stigma here, the only 2 losses I've actually experienced this year were Wednesday and Friday. So I'm on a 2-game losing streak, but I was on a 4-game winning streak before that. The other 4 games that I did, coming into tonight, were all wins. So on the season, I'm actually 4-2. So I don't want any of this to be put on me and my bad juju or bad vibes that I'm bringing to it. That's not how this works. Maddie's the one you're thinking about. Again, Maddie still has not hosted a win, and we are going to get Maddie a win eventually. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Janine says, hit the like button for Sam, MVP of the night. Appreciate you, Janine, first of all. Second of all, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. You guys are here again. Let me clear up some confusion. You hitting the like button is not you appreciate the way the Magic played tonight. You hitting the like button is appreciating that in spite of the way the Magic played tonight, we are still here. We are still talking. We're still hosting the postgame live. Hitting the like button is just a way to show people that you appreciate the content. You appreciate what we do. You appreciate this community. That's all that the like button means. Please hit the like button. It helps us to get out on the algorithm to more people on YouTube, to more people on X. So that they can also join these shows and experience the magic of wins and also experience the therapy of the losses. So go ahead and hit that like button and then go ahead and get it out to some more of the Magic fan base. So I've already seen some likes trickling in since then. Thank you guys so much for that. Colin says, man, I forgot the watch party was tonight. Sorry you forgot about it. I'm pretty sure John's going to be mentioning another watch party coming up sometime soon. So stay tuned for that. Be listening to the show. Follow Six Man Show on all of our socials. Right when we know the date and the location of the next watch party, we will let you guys know for sure. No hesitation. So Luke B says, yeah, I thought the energy was better in the first half. I completely agree. And I think that, like I said, we kind of got demoralized when Boston kept hitting those big shots. And you got to stay engaged. And this team is capable of comebacks. They just have to keep grinding and they have to keep pushing. And they just lost that energy at halftime for whatever reason. David T has the right mentality. He says, I'm so depressed now that I want to go on Rock'em and buy some Magic socks. You do that. If that will help cure your depression, then you go to rock'em.com and you use that code MAGIC20 for 20% off of your order, and maybe that'll help turn your frown upside down tonight. I hope they ship internationally. I believe they do. I would check before you place an order. I could be wrong about that, but I believe they do. Check into that. I actually need to find out about that so that I can answer that question on future post games. I love the energy that Meh is bringing here. An interesting name for the hype of the comment here is, I still believe in this team. I do too. It's the schedule combined with the injuries is really causing this team to just be exhausted because of how much they're having to grind out games here. Boston had more fire tonight for sure. They did. A lot of comments about just needing guys back, healthy, easier schedule coming up. Jordan Cruz saying, we don't have a center. Yeah, when we're down Goga and Mo Wagner, we don't have a center, and it's very frustrating. You know, we always go back to the beginning of the year. We had that extra two-way spot, and then Jay Huff, I believe his name was, who ended up getting signed on the two-way to Memphis, and we've seen him ball out a couple of games. He would have been big for moments like this when you don't have that fourth center, because injuries do happen, and depth matters in the NBA. Let's see. Heck yeah, a couple other comments about Jalen. He said Jalen is the team's culture. He is the grit and grind and the heart of the team. And like I said, when other people on the team are struggling to stay engaged and stay locked in, Jalen kind of reminds people there's something to play for and that no game is unwinnable at any point. And he's always fighting up 20, down 20, tied. It doesn't matter. Jalen's always kind of fighting for the win. And we miss a guy like that in games like this when it's just kind of on the brink of getting away from us. Jalen's the kind of guy who will rally the troops and bring everyone back together, and not having him, you can really see the impact that that's having on this team for sure. A couple of comments about frustration with the three-point shooting. 3-point shooting. I know that Jonathan and Kevin talked about that on the last episode of the Six Man Show that came out yesterday. If you want to let people talk about the frustration with the three-point shooting, go back and listen to that episode because they went into that quite a bit. Looks like we got a super chat that just came in. Soul Train says, will they make a trade even if it's a small one? I hope so. Okay. That is my take. My take is I want them to. My take is I think they should. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have enough evidence from this front office for my take to be I think they will. This team has had holes in the past and they have not really gone out. This team has not been a team that's really ever operated on gaining assets other than picks at the trade deadline. It's not how they've operated. I would love more than anything else for a couple days before the trade deadline to find out that we went out, not an expensive guy. I don't need a De'Aaron Fox. I don't need a Anthony Simons. I don't need any of those players. Just like get me a shooter, someone who can just make shots. And if that's a Cam Johnson, that's great. That's still on the expensive tier end of the options that we have, right? But just someone who can come in and who has been shooting the three consistently this year. But then that's what we did with KCP. Kenny was supposed to be that this year, and he's fallen short of those expectations. And that's frustrating for sure. So Soul Train, thank you so much for that super chat. We appreciate you. Let me go ahead and get back to where we were in the comments. A lot of comments about the like button. Keep hitting the like button. I've seen some of you guys trickling in. Appreciate you guys for that. Thank you guys for still being here. Between concurrent viewers on X and YouTube, we've had a couple hundred people kind of coming and going throughout the evening. I know that this is extremely important for us as Magic fans to talk this over as a loss, and just the ability to have somewhere to go to decompress after a loss instead of just shutting the TV off and then stewing in sadness for 45 minutes, right? This helps us get us off our chests so that we go to bed a little bit easier at night. Jordan Cruz says a Cam Thomas would be great. I agree, just expensive. Someone asked about, I believe it was De'Aaron Fox on Wednesday night's Postgame Live. That would be a real expensive get. And Brooklyn, who they're in a rebuilding stage, they would love to rebuild around Cam Thomas. He might be a little on the older side to fit what they're trying to do with the rebuild. But you would have to give up a lot of assets to get a guy like Cam Thomas. And if this front office hasn't shown a willingness to trade for guys that are going to be a 6th or 7th person in the lineup, then I really struggle to believe that they're going to go out and get a guy who would expect starting minutes or to be, one of the highest scoring 6th men in the league. Luis Rosario says at least the Knicks lost just now, waiting on the Heat to lose. Also, I got some bad news for you guys when it comes to looking at the standings here in a few minutes, but we'll get to that in just a second. Matt also says, no trades, please. This team is enough. You've heard Mosley say that multiple times tonight. A lot of people saying Cam Thomas, a lot of people saying Cam Johnson, and a lot of people throwing some trade ideas in here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of going through your guys' comments. We're going to go ahead and look over at the box score, the game summary, and the standings and the scores across the league tonight. I want to leave us on a positive note. Other than Mez's comment, Rome also says, we will go on a run soon and forget this recent stretch. I sure hope so. I believe that this team will. I believe that what this team's capable of. I think we can win games. And I think we're just ready to see this team get healthy and then see what this team was capable of with the intended roster that this front office had in mind coming into this year. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump over to the box score. I'm not going to talk about this a ton because it's painful, just like Wednesday. I didn't spend a ton of time with this on Wednesday. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it tonight. Cole Anthony was the best player for the Orlando Magic this evening. He had 23 points off the bench, 9 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, even tallied 7 rebounds, was getting his own shot, wasn't really facilitating the ball a ton. Anthony Black wasn't terrible. It was just a shooting night. You got, Tristan, 2 of 7 from the floor, Paolo, 8 of 20, another kind of rough night for him. At least appreciated him turning down the turnovers because he was averaging 5.3 over his first 3 games back, and he only had 2 tonight, which was great. So maybe that's a step in the right direction for him. But really, just not a lot of positives stand out for this box score tonight, guys. It's a lot of painful stats. Again, second straight game where there's not a single player on your roster to finish with a positive in the plus-minus category. You lose all 4 quarters tonight. You didn't come within 5. So like I said, Milwaukee, you lost the game all up front, and then you just couldn't get it back. Tonight, it was a death by 1,000 cuts. You lose by 7, then 5, then 8, then 7. It was just the Celtics just slowly pulled away over the duration of the night, and you couldn't cut it back down. Really frustrating. Again, like I said, the Magic seemed like they were a little bit more intentional about getting into the paint, but then it's funny. I was sitting next to Nick Anderson tonight, who was at the watch party. And there's multiple times where I just see him kind of yelling next to me. We were in the bay over from him at the stadium club, so it's not like we were just like buddies, like sitting next to each other, to clarify. It's just the amount of times where I just heard him just like yell at the screen, like, take it to the cup, like, take the shot, get to the bucket. There's a lot of times where like Paolo, it looked like he had a free lane, and then he would pull it back out or pass it out. Anthony Black would have a free lane. He would pull it out or pass it back out. Cole Anthony would have a free lane, and then he would settle for a mid-range or a floater. It's just like, take it to the bucket. We had 44 points in the paint. We didn't shoot 33s tonight, which I appreciate, which is great. But keep taking it to the basket. You have some of the best finishers in the game. Cole Anthony is a great finisher at the basket. Paolo is a great finisher at the basket. Anthony Black is a great finisher at the basket. We just need them to have confidence. And if you want to talk about how this game comes down to shooting and just overall offensive execution, Orlando only had 8 turnovers tonight, and they lost by almost 30 points. That's a rough stat, and I'm just going to leave that at that because there's not much else to say about that. Standings, I'm going to refresh this page and be extremely sad about what I'm about to say. Your Orlando Magic have dropped down to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. We are now a half game behind Indiana, a full game behind Milwaukee. We are 12.5 out of first, but we are not really concerned with first place right now. We're just concerned with not slipping into the play-in because we could be 7th as early as tomorrow. It's really, really hard to hold on to hope, guys, but I'm really encouraging you guys to hold on to hope because this team is not healthy. They've been playing difficult opponents, and we are slipping. We should be grateful for the amount of wins that we got during this stretch as opposed to upset that we haven't gotten any more. But just let this team get back healthy. I still think we're going to be fine. I still think we have a great shot. We are only one game out of the 4 seed. And I'm going to finish off tonight with a note here in a second, but I'm going to go through the scores tonight first. Hornets up 121 to 117 on the Bulls. That one's coming down to the wire with about 3 minutes left in the game. Pelicans beating the Jazz, another kind of battle of bottom feeders there. Bucks only up 10 on the Raptors, 107 to 97 going into the fourth quarter there. Nuggets look like they're about to beat the Heat, which is great for us. Heat are going to drop down to 500. I don't have a lot of confidence in them making a push towards the end of the year, especially with Jimmy Butler looking like he's out the door. Mavericks up 63 to 52 in the third quarter. Spurs up 29-27 over the Grizzlies. And then you got some finals down here. The Knicks lost, which is an encouragement to anyone who thinks that we still have a shot at the 3 seed, myself included. And then obviously the Celtics take care of business over the Magic, 121 to 94. And the Lakers Nets is your late night game. Look at like that's going to be kicking off at around 10:30. But I'm going to come back, look at the chat here, see if I missed anything. Let's see. Soul Train says, let me switch to the proper view. Soul Train says, I feel like any major trade happens in the offseason. Agree. I don't feel like this is the type of team that really makes changes middle of the season. I feel like they make changes, and they like having a set roster coming into the year and then allowing that team to play the full year through for the sake of chemistry and consistency. Scoring, get Levine. He does not fit the culture of this team. Not a big Levine guy. He's such a liability on the defensive side of the floor, and he would take the ball away from Paolo and Franz's hands. We don't need a ball-dominant guy. We need a primarily off-ball guy who's going to complement what Paolo and Franz are doing, not a third on-ball forward. That's just not what we need. LGF 223 says, screw it, let's go get Steph. If Steph Curry became available and I woke up to the fact that this Magic team traded players, as long as that might be the Suggs trade where Suggs is available for this team. If you can go out and get Steph Curry, an all-time great, to pair with Paolo and Franz, we can have a conversation. That's not going to happen. Thanks for getting my hopes up, LGF, though. I definitely appreciate it. A lot of comments about pain. Blaze says pain because... pain, absolutely. I'm assuming you guys sent those in while we were looking at the box score because the box score was painful. I think we need a little bit of positivity. I'm going to leave on this note tonight, guys. I'm going to pull the standings back up here, okay? And I want to end on this note here tonight. Just give me a couple seconds. Your Orlando Magic are the 6th seed. We are 23-20, okay? I'm going to pull up some stats on my phone because I just really want to end the night this way because after Wednesday and Friday, even if you guys don't need this, I do. Okay. Your Orlando Magic are 23-20. They're the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They are only one game back of having home court advantage during the first round of the playoffs, and you're only 4 games back of having the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, here's where I wanted to come at with this. Paolo Banchero has played 8 games. Your best player has played 8 games. Franz Wagner has only played 25. Tonight was your 43rd game of the year. Wagner's played barely more than half of those. And in 4 or 5 of those games, he was sick and wasn't fully capable. So you can even take a couple more games off of that total. Okay. Jalen Suggs has missed, he's missed 9 games. Mo Wagner has missed 13 games. Goga Batadze has missed 7. Wendell Carter has missed 14. Jonathan Isaac has missed 7. Jet Howard has missed 6. And you are still 1 game back of having home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. If you would have told me, if you would have told yourself, if I would have told you prior to the season that coming into the year, the Orlando Magic were going to have Paolo Banchero missing 30 plus games, that we were going to have Franz Wagner missing 20-plus games, that we were going to have Jalen Suggs missing 10-plus games, all in the front half of the year, and that we were still not just over 500, but only a game out of the 4 seed, you would kill for that. You would be so unbelievably happy about that. You would say, we haven't dropped out of the play-in yet. We haven't dropped to the 10 seed yet. We're still only a game out of the 4th seed, right? I think that we've gotten so used to being in the 3 seed or the 4th seed that we get complacent about what it actually means to still be in the 6th seed of the Eastern Conference. The fact that this Magic team went on a 13-1 run, 13 wins and 1 loss when Paolo went down and Franz was our number 1 option is incredible. The fact that this team has won as many games as it has while shorthanded is incredible. So tonight, it sucks. It sucks. Wednesday's game sucked. Tonight's game sucked. There's no way around it. It was difficult. It was challenging. It was awful to watch. It was painful. I am not taking away from how you guys feel about that. I'm not taking away from how I feel about that. But what I want us to have is context, and what I want us to have is perspective. Okay, we still have 39 games left in the season. And God willing, over the course of the last 39 games, we are going to be significantly healthier than we were over the course of the first 43. And this team, okay, has been going up against other teams in the Eastern Conference that has been healthy. We are 1 game back of a Milwaukee Bucks team that has barely dealt with injuries. They've had injuries. I'm not saying they haven't, but they've barely dealt with injuries. The Pacers have not dealt with significant injuries like we have. No team that we are competing with right now for the 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 seed has had their best player out for 30-plus games and their second best player out for 20-plus. None of them have. And we are hanging with them. And we have the easiest schedule, or the 2nd or 3rd or 4th easiest schedule remaining in the NBA over the course of the duration of the season. There's still hope. There's still reason to be happy. There's still reason to believe that this team can get home court advantage. Okay? So be upset about tonight's performance. Express your frustration. Be mad. I get it. That's fine. But don't allow that to carry over into how you think this team is going to drop into the play-in or struggle for the duration of the year, because this team has shown more what it's capable of than what it's not capable of, if I'm being completely honest. Okay? So maintain positivity, remain happy, and believe that this team is still capable of a top 4 team in top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, because I believe that we are. I think that we can still accomplish it. I think that we still have a great chance. And after this Denver game, Jonathan mentioned this on the show on Thursday, and it's the last thing I'll mention. After Denver, you have Toronto, Portland, Detroit, Miami, Portland. Toronto's been awful this year. Portland's been awful this year. Detroit has been good, but Jaden Ivey's out. That's still a winnable game. Miami's struggling with their identity and what's going on with them. And then you have a game against Portland on the 30th, who, again, has been struggling immensely. This team still has hope for what they can accomplish this year. We can still be a top 4 seed, a top 4 team. So keep believing in this team. Keep supporting this team. Don't lose hope in this team. Don't lose faith in this team. Keep supporting. Keep loving them. Keep showing them love on social media. Remember that these players see and hear what you say on social media, right? Tonight was frustrating. Wednesday was frustrating. But I want us to stay positive and keep a larger picture of kind of where we're at as a Magic fan base. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you so much for attending this little Magic therapy session that we had, expressing your frustration, but also ending on a positive note, hopefully going forward. We have a lot to be positive about, and this team is better than we were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And the fact that if we could tell 4 years ago that we would be complaining about being 23-20, 43 games into a season, I think that we just need to keep things in perspective. So I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting up with me for back-to-back nights with Wednesday and tonight. I'm going to be back on in a couple of weeks, but thanks for the change in setup and being flexible with the start time of the show tonight and everything. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for being a part of things. We have our next game coming up Sunday at Denver, 6 o'clock tip-off, not 7 o'clock tip-off. Hopefully we'll see you guys then. I think Kevin's got the PGL. Until then, stay positive. Let's go Magic. Come on, guys.